Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's SIG Autoscaling gathering. SIG Autoscaling is a part of the community project and CNCF. We abide by the code of conduct, so thanks in advance for being respectful and listening to all voices. And raise your hands, please, before speaking, and we'd love to hear from you. Okay, without further ado, we have a light agenda today. Kuba asked me offline to go through some of the bullet points from last week because I'm not sure I went through that. So I'll go through that first from top to bottom. Daniel, are you here? If you're not here, I think I can um, share this. So I'm going to expect to read through this and see a bunch of new releases. Yeah. So just a PSA, last week we cut cluster autoscaler releases. Um, Let this help me narrate. So we got a patch release for 134, 133, and 132. And 135 will be upcoming in the coming weeks. Expect that by end of December, following the Kubernetes release of 135. We're going to really aim to do that quickly this time. There are some open items, but look for that end of December. Okay. There are some open questions about SDK v1 for the AWS cloud provider. Is anybody here to speak to that?
Howdy. Yeah,
Hey,
I think we
Dominic.
we talked a little bit on the what's it called, the PR itself, but yeah, I just wanted to check in. I left some comments, and I think the big open question here is whether it still makes sense to vendor the SDK or whether it makes sense to include it like directly. Um, I was hoping to maybe gather some like more context just from folks that have been involved with the autoscaler for longer about like the benefits and like downsides to vendoring it. Just because there are other cloud providers that are vendoring, and I wasn't sure like what the best path forward was. But basically, I'm happy to help move this forward in whatever direction makes the most sense for the autoscaling group, but wanted to try to get input on that.
Yeah, cool. I think so. It was you. We talked on the PR, you and I,
Yeah.
about there's an understanding that the V1 AWS cloud provider is a substantial monolithic code base. And so one advantage of doing a sort of manual vendor is just getting sort of more fine grained access to the packages that we wanted. Um, does anybody have any historical context there to validate that? And if the V2 is not organized in the same monolithic way, and instead it's easier to simply pull in your Go module the specific packages that we need. If that were the only reason for doing the vendoring before, and if that's changed, that for me that would be permission to no longer vendor with V2. But it might be more complicated than that. But if nobody wants to speak to that, why don't we um, just from a general standpoint, vendoring would not be preferred. So I would say it makes sense to go forward with a non-vendoring approach and just put everything in the Go module. And if everything seems to pass CI, um, then I think we should go forward with that. And then we can continue to like welcome comments from folks.
Okay. If it's all right with you, I'll keep maybe the vendoring one open for like another week or so and could pop back in next week, but I could also just try to put a branch together that just switches to consuming the V2 directly as a module. So that's also like up and ready for review. And then like whatever direction we want to go, we could just pick the one that makes the most sense.
Great. I think
Okay.
that's great. Thanks for
Okay.
doing. I know that's kind of double work, but thank you so much for doing that.
No, not at all. Not a problem. For what it's worth, we've been running like a fork of this internally for like a hot minute. So I have like a high level of like confidence that this should be like a pretty easy migration. But yeah, I could definitely put something together.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much. Omer, are you on the call? Let's see if this is still a relevant call for review or if it's already been reviewed and merged. Okay, great. So we still got a call for review on this HPA KEP in Kubernetes. It's not milestone tag, but let's assume this is going to be um, aimed for 136. So just another call out to do some reviews. I can put myself on that list in the coming weeks to do that as well. I don't see Omer here, so I'll probably just move along. Okay, cool. Is this anybody want to speak to this
Uh,
agenda item? Hi, Caitlin. Go for
Hi.
it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add like a new condition on check capacity provisioning requests in the cluster autoscaler. Um, like currently, the check capacity is like pretty binary. It only tells you if all of your pods in your pod set can be scheduled, have capacity to be scheduled or not. So this condition adds a partial capacity, um, like a state, so that users via the provisioning request will be able to see if some of their pod set can be scheduled or if some of their pod set has capacity to be scheduled. I did add a sorting mechanism to make this partial capacity deterministic, but I am open to any other way of doing it. I just have an arbitrary indexing of the pod set. Um, but I do understand that the actual scheduler won't schedule in this order. I just wanted a way to make um, this deterministic for just like an observability reason.
Yeah, there, stay tuned in 2026 for lots of conversations about that remark on scheduler. We had some talks at KubeCon about how to better have the scheduler be the sort of authoritative actor for auto scaling decisions so that um, we don't have the situation right now, which is what you described, that we predict, but we can't um, really accurately predict what the schedule is actually going to do when the infrastructure actually comes online. Does anybody have any comments to that, to Caitlin's sort of scenario that she laid out? Okay, what I will do is I will track down, it's a little early for me to remember off the top of my head who is currently owning provisioning request stuff, but I'll look into that, like maybe scrub the last year of PRs and find some stakeholders, and we can get this moving forward. It doesn't sound, I don't hear anything that's obviously alarming that we wouldn't be able to move this forward. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any ad hoc? I think we're at the agenda. Has the agenda been modified in the meeting? No. Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up? Now's a great chance to bring anything to the community. Going once, going twice. Everyone enjoy your Thursdays.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. See you folks online.
Thank you.